That was some fun, like improvisational music making. Here we go.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Again, thanks for coming on with me, bud. We let's take a minute and say hello. Hello, world.
Hi.
Uh,
Hey, everybody.
uh,
Sending you kisses from wherever you
if you're not on my wall, this is Blake Zeeler coming at you. I am a relationship engineer and sacred sexuality and intimacy coach, and one of the team members for the team of Flourish coaches, the poly-kinky-queer group coaching program coming up soon. Excited to be here with you, Johnny. We almost had you in Flourish, man. It would have been so nice to be there with you, but oh, so close.
are. Almost.
But
Yes,
tell
it
us
was
about
so
you.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Johnny Vajra, everybody. I am a sex and happiness coach, as well as an erotic blueprint coach, and the co-owner of the St. Pete Retreat here in Florida. And that's exactly the reason why I wasn't able to be a part of the Flourish program, because I was in the middle of juggling selling two houses, and then buying this wonderful space that now we're going to be holding so that we can bring in amazing beings such as yourself, Blake, and others.
Right on, man. I can't wait to see it from this little 10 by 10 frame. It's pretty nice. But yeah, man, I'd love to come through soon and check the whole place out. Congratulations on the new digs and the new event center. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, my man, we started out from this starting place, this question, right? How does a poly kinky queer man make it in the world? And you know, making it is relative, of course, but I am curious about you. I've been curious about you since the day we met. Like, how did you get to be here? How did you make it this far? How did you come up into yourself and really embody the man you are today?
Oh, man. How did I get here? Well,
I mean, particularly from the angle of how weird you are. How did you get to be this weird?
I'm accepting of how weird I am.
That's really the question.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really.
I've always been weird. Yeah, and it's been it's been quite a journey to get to the point where I am fully accepting of exactly how weird I can possibly be, and that is partially the journey of me opening up and healing the sexy chakra, that the aspects of myself that were really blocked and that had experienced trauma, with me more in regards to sexuality. And when I was able to get to that point, then there was like a reset button for me where it was hitting 0 point, and I was able to make the choices consciously for myself as to what that looked like for me, what reality looked like for me, what happiness looks like for me. And also what my shadow was speaking to me, like what were the things that were deep within my psyche that were creating these unconscious patterns that were also manifesting in my interactions and in what I was bringing and calling into my own space of reality for myself. And when I started to go deeper with that, then of course through a lot of my work with the International School of Temple Arts, ISTA, and then a number of other mentors, including the Lori Handlers. Shout you out, Lori, because I love you.
The immortal Lori Handlers.
Right. And so all of that, digging into my soul and really coming into those deep conversations with myself, and also putting into practice what I had learned over and over and over, wash, rinse, repeat. That's where I ended up getting to the point where I realized, hey, let me try out this poly lifestyle, this non-traditional way of relating, as well as going deeper and realizing that, I do have a kinky side and I like it.
So do many other people, I imagine.
As well, yes. And then also this identifying as, and then letting go of the label of being queer and what does that mean to me.
Mhm.
So yeah, once I got to that point, then it was more of a, okay, well, hey, now I'm here, I'm exploring where I'm at, I feel comfortable where I'm at. How about I let all that go and just continue to be me? And what does that look like to acknowledge that I am the same human that, came out of my mother's, what, and now I'm just an evolved human and I'm evolving even more. And what does that look like? And how do I continue to open up myself so that I can be in a space of learning what that looks like for me?
Mm. Yeah, beautiful, man. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I got a question for you.
Okay.
How did you get here? Because I know you got some juiciness about yourself too, Blakey Pooh.
Man, it wasn't that spiritual at the beginning. To hear you describe it, it was like, well, I went in and I did the work and I tinkered with this and I faced that shadow, and I'm sitting here like, man, I didn't start doing that until much later. Ooh, yeah. That describes like maybe the last 5 years for me, a lot of what you just shared, but fuck, man, prior to that, it was a lot more of just crashing into things and feeling ostracized. Like, as far back as college, it was like all of my male friends would kind of talk about me behind my back and describe me as gay or call me gay. And sometimes they'd let it slip out in these little, like loving kind of slurish ways, just tease me about it. And, later on when I became poly, it was just really, really polarizing to like my whole social world. You know what I mean? It was like a lot of my friends were like, "Ooh, what are you up to? Like, you're doing that with both of them? Like, can I play?" Some people were like that, and a bunch of other people were like, "I never want you to talk to my girlfriend ever again." And it polarized my world, man. I lost a lot of friends over it. People who I miss dearly, actually, like, my college freshman roommate. We were just like tight as could be, and then one day, poof, and I can't help but think it was about that. And then, kinky has been less of an edge for me because I really started like fully saying yes to my kinky weirdness when I was already embedded in a community of people who were, saying yes to all the same things I was saying yes to, or identifying in all the ways that I was identifying. But the short answer from that long answer is like, I ran away from all the people that didn't understand me or that I didn't feel like I could be myself around, and ran towards the people who validated my existence. The people who were like, "Oh, you want to make out with that guy? You want to have sex with that guy? Like, that's hot. Come here. I want to be friends with you." Little by little, that's how my world steered itself, or I steered myself into it. And that led me to a place of type of acceptance that allowed me to say yes to all the personal growth work and shadow hunting and ISTA and everything else that you mentioned. Yeah, some feelings come up as I talk about this, bud, because like those first, like, I'm married and divorced to a woman who totally couldn't accept me as queer and gave me a bunch of shame about it, and I took it in and shamed myself. So like, how did I get here was a dark night of the soul, followed by lots of training, lots of coaching, lots of meeting people like yourself who I feel really natural around, and feel like, it's like, oh, I can look in this mirror and see that it's okay to be me a little bit more. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of what I want to offer to the world, is that comfort, safety, community, and permission to just be who the fuck you are. Be proud of it,
Yeah. What you said, there's a lot of things that I resonate with too. And I mean, getting out of the woo-woo and going into the earthy meat of it, it's some of the themes that I heard you say are, feeling rejection, and also, going into those spaces where you're feeling like you want to be accepted and also you want to accept others, but feeling that there's some type of dissonance there, and there's that
mm-hmm.
that resistance there.
Mm-hmm.
and also, running away, almost like isolating yourself to the point where you feel like, I need to just go and be around people that really that resonate with me and are in that same vibration as me
Sure.
in the moment. And then, you know, going into this deeper space of who am I?
Yeah. What do I want?
What do I want?
Yeah,
And outside of everybody that's around me. And so, I mean, I can say that I personally resonate with all of those. And I
totally.
imagine that there are multiple people out there that also feel the same way, and they don't know where to go, and they don't know where to even start. And,
Yeah.
there's just so many layers that they feel that are in between them and where they want to be,
Mhm.
that they're just kind of lost. And I know I was there too.
Yeah. Yeah, likewise, man. I knew we'd be able to resonate on this journey. Yeah, if you could go all the way back to I don't know, to the beginning, to like what did you wish you had known when you were young, or what do you wish someone had said to you somewhere along the way that might have, I don't know, everything happens for a reason, of course, and you learned what you needed to learn in the way that you needed to learn it, but like what might have made a difference and set you up for less suffering, or more joy, or more connection, or more safety?
Hmm. Yeah. That question, whenever people ask me, I'm like, I feel like I draw a blank. And I'm like, all right, pass me. What do you need to know right now so that
Sure.
you can be all the me that you're going to be? I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, it's man, I think the biggest thing for me in the past was seeking acceptance from other people,
Mhm.
just really going into that. I mean, that's where, I would say it for all those out there who are recovering from a religious organization. I am a recovering Jehovah's Witness. And so it's much like an addiction, it's one of those where yeah, it took me quite a few years to get out of that mental loop of being like, I'm burning in hell, and everything that I'm doing is wrong, and God doesn't accept me. And so when I finally got to that point to realize that I am the only true authority source of acceptance, and when I really truly believe that and trust that and know that I am the one that needs to accept me and no one else, and when
Mhm.
I accept me, everything else falls into place. And the ones who resonate with my own self acceptance, they're the ones who are going to be there to support me.
Mm.
That's what I would have told past me. Like, look,
Yeah.
dude, accept yourself, and whatever you got to do to get to that point of self acceptance, forgive yourself for all of those things that you didn't know that you did, or that didn't do, or should have done, or would have done, or could have
Mhm.
done. Forgive yourself from all of that. Forgive,
Mhm.
forgive, forgive. And once
Mhm.
you've done that, then acknowledge that you are all good. We
Mhm.
are all good exactly where we are, as we are in this moment right now, and every moment going forward.
Oh.
And it'll all fall into place. Trust the mystery, baby. That's what I would say to pass me.
I think he just heard you. That transmission was so powerful. I like my whole chest is like on fire right now, man. That was brilliant. He definitely heard you and probably turned a corner years
Oh,
ago.
yes. Thank you,
Wow.
pass me.
Oh.
Oh, I love
Hey,
you.
thanks, future Johnny. That was great. Who the fuck is Vajra?
We're not figuring that shit out together.
Yeah. I hope my past self heard you too, because that's what he needed to hear as well, man. The self-acceptance piece is, it really is everything. In order to get there, like I would add, like I had to do a lot of work around my family too, because like and I'm still doing it. Like I just spent a whole week with them, like 2 weeks with them, and had a wedding and everything. And like I was so impressed with like how accepting they actually are, that it like at least now really made me confront my story of how accepting I thought they weren't, and be like, how did that even get there? Because like I totally had this belief that like I'm not even safe at home, even though like I've always had a safe home for the most part. Like it's just weird, but it helped me kind of track back through time how much energy or thought or belief I had behind othering myself, and like taking the weird that I felt in myself and not accepting it and turning that into everybody else's judgment of me. That that I don't belong, and that I'm weird and nobody gets me, and that all I can point at all the things like, well, I'm a poly, queer, kinky, blah 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 blah, and I have and I just find all these reasons to convince myself, all this evidence to convince myself that I am a freak, and that therefore I'm not as lovable. It's like a big chicken and an egg question for me as to like what came first, being othered by other people or doing it to myself, and then the projection. But it's been happening since I was got to grade school. Like yeah, this big, since I was 7 or something, and maybe before that. Um, but I think that's endemic to the world, not just for poly kinky queer weirdos like us, but people. Like one of my great teachers, we'll give her a shout out to Kamala Devi McClure, said to me recently, yeah, what's up, KD? She said, or they said to me recently, the question I asked is, could you imagine, or is it possible to raise a child without a core wound? And their reply was, we all have a core wound that's simply separation from source. And it just manifests as all of these other forms of pain, like abandonment and not belonging and shame. And but it all kind of comes down to the same thing. Ooh, yeah, thanks, Katie. But I think it's part something that we're all dealing with, is this feeling of separation and not belonging. And I think people who find themselves as different by society's standards internalize that, and then they push themselves away from the tribe, push themselves away from community and safe space. And anyway, more of a share than a segue, but I'm curious what that brings up for you.
What brings up for me is, we're looking at all the ways that we're not, and there's something, in this like collective space of consciousness that is this. What are all the ways that I am not this? All the ways that I am separate from this person,
Yeah.
separate from this idea, this identity.
Mm-hmm.
How about we just say we're not any of it, really? It's the mind's construct, the ego, which is a beautiful thing. Thank you, ego, which is saying, hey, look, this is how I create spatial awareness. And it's by saying, I am this, I'm not that, I'm not that. And when we allow ourselves going into the meditative space, or going into that space of back into the breath, back into presence, and breath, sound, movement, getting out of the head and into and fully embodied, then that's when we get to that point where we can start to feel again from the biggest brain, the most connected brain that is in our bodies, which is our heart. And that heart will tell us exactly what is and what isn't. And the heart knows. The heart is not one that thinks it is this or that. It knows exactly what is. So when we feel into that, that's where we can get back into that space of being on the right track, as they say, and whatever
Totally.
that may be. It for you and I, it happens to be this being poly, being kinky, being queer, and I want to say, going back into the poly space, because for me, one of the big pieces that really helped me when I think about poly, I mean, I think of myself more like, uh, I'm relate I relate non-traditionally.
Sure.
That's what I would say that is really what's in alignment with me, because the book Polysecure by Jessica Fern really
Yep.
helped me to see, that it's more this idea, this concept of relating is more like in a quadrant, and it's like it shifts based on where you are and who you're with and how you relate and how you feel in your environment and all of these different other aspects. It's like we're not just these linear beings, we're multi-dimensional beings. And so for me in this moment, I am very much comfortable and solid being with my wife and being more in like a swinger type of
Mm-hmm.
situation, very much, inviting people into the space and sharing, that love and all of the juiciness. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a time when I was very much poly solo, and I was just, I was all about me and relationship anarchy and all these other different concepts,
Mm-hmm.
exploring and experimenting. And so the reason why I'm saying all this is because there's a lot of people that have reached out to me for coaching that have been like, I'm trying this and it's this way, and my partner wants to be with this person and I'm supposed to be okay with it and the way that they want to do it, and like each time I say yes to them, then I go into this traumatic response and then I'm like blown out for 3 weeks and I don't know how to deal with it. It's something wrong with me. And it's like, wait, actually there's nothing wrong with you. Your body is responding, and this is a perfect opportunity for you to listen to what it is that your body needs right now in this moment. And if it is not in alignment, if that situation is not in alignment with where your body's at right now, that's okay.
Mm. Beautifully said, man. Beautifully. I affirm that as well. It is okay. I think, I mean, it's more than okay. Your truth is completely valid. And I think where people really benefit from a little bit of guidance and coaching and even just reflection from somebody who's, been fucking it up longer than they have. It's like, what do you do? This is a question I'd asked myself several times. Like, what do I do when, like, okay, I finally punch through the ego and all the noise in my head, and I finally get down to my heart's truth, and I really listen to that unequivocal, heart-centered voice, and it says, this isn't the relationship for you, or you don't like this career, you should quit it, or you should sell your house. No, sell 2 of them at the same time and buy a third. It's like, it's, I reached to borrow.
I don't recommend that. Just like, it's like, oh, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't recommend opening a 7-year monogamous relationship with just a few hours of conversation either, but I did it because at the time it seemed like the right idea. It seemed like what my heart and her heart was telling us to do. And so we did it. And man, I wish we had had more community, and we had something more than just a couple of books. We had like The Ethical Slut and Sex at Dawn, and later more than 2 came out, but like the help was far away. And I wish I had it, because when I did bump up against those inconvenient truths coming from the heart that are bound to like upend my whole world, man, that's really when I needed the support. And I got through it one way or another. But yeah, it would have been nice to just have somebody say something like you just said, like, hey, this response you're having in your body, like, that's okay. You're having a human response to things. You don't have to, go through the mental wrestling matches that I put myself through trying to decide what I want rather than feel the truth of it.
Yeah, a little bit more grace and a lot of bit more ease.
And more lube than you think you need.
Always more lube. You gotta get like that big ass, bulk Costco. Just put out, trash garbage bags all over the floor and create a slip and slide if you need to. Trust me.
Like ketchup bottles would be really good for lube. Why don't we use ketchup bottles? Just go, I think that'd be a good delivery system.
Yeah, you just make sure you really wash that ketchup bottle real good, because that smell, I don't know. I mean, for some sensuals out there, that could be a thing or it couldn't be a thing. Got a little shadow around that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
And
so
you're gonna let that one go.
right, we can let that fly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and I would say, we're thinking about this whole, what is it that we need? How can you, present you, learn from past us? Because we've done it, we've probably fucked it up, and we've
Yeah.
most likely learned something from it. And a lot of these tools and these techniques from the modalities and the lineages that we've studied, you and I have studied, with quite a few overlapping, and
Sure.
that's where we've done a lot of the work so that others can come to us and really feel safe and feel held, and
Mm.
for a true permission field to be opened so that they can say something that maybe they didn't even want to Google about or didn't feel comfortable saying, in in the Supreme Court, let's say, but yet this was the space because we've most likely heard it before. We might have even done it before, and we might know a little thing, or at least be able to point you in the direction of someone who knows.
Beautiful, brother. Yes. Um, so are these the sort of events that you want to have at your new space? Like what's going on down there? How can people contact you to bring some healing to the St. Pete retreat?
Yeah, so the St. Pete retreat, this is gonna be, so we've got this place. It's about a little over a quarter acre here in the heart of St. Petersburg, Florida. And yeah, we want to call on to those who would like to do a destination retreat here. And it's a very intimate setting. We can hold workshop space for about 15 to 20 people comfortably. In the winter time, when it gets a bit warmer and we don't have the mosquitoes, it opens up quite a bit more.
Mhm.
And so we're calling those folks in who want to do retreats, come to us, and we're happy to hold that space for you here in St. Pete. We also are doing private retreats for those who say one or two or four people, some couples who are looking to do this work, who feel called to do work with my partner, my wife, and
Mhm.
Stacy Acidro. She's also an erotic blueprint coach, and yeah, and we're here to hold space for you all. So that's my deal, and I look forward to you all coming here. And now, Blake, what are you doing? What's going
Uh,
on with this Flourish thing here?
oh my goodness.
More about it.
I'll tell you what, just like to get there, like a little riff off the last thing you shared. When I first started really embracing who I was and becoming poly and like being like, yeah, I'm queer, I'm bisexual, I'm pansexual, and like actually starting to own it, it was such a rush to the ego. It was such a rush to my head of like, yeah, I'm finally doing it, that I had this feeling like I've got it all figured out now. And yeah, I suppose that's the point in time that I would go back as my future self and tell past self, like, dude, this is the time to look into what's out there, find some resources, find a coach, find a teacher. And so it's from that place inside of knowing that there are a lot of people out there who are at the same threshold of really trying to step into being who they really are, really trying to express through all of these beautiful channels that other people find weird, but they find to be an essential part of who they are. It's with that in our hearts that we created Flourish. Brianna Krabeyer's idea, shout out to Brianna as well,
Hey,
and
what up, B?
created this a spin out of Sacred Sexuality Rising. There's been a lot of buzz of it there to offer some coaching programs. And so she picked me and three other awesome coaches, one of whom we had to find a replacement for, unfortunately, but there is no replacing Johnny Vajra, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only. But we've been putting our heads together for a few months and really shaking it down to like, what are the things that we most needed to hear back when we were trying to figure this all out for ourselves? Where were the places that we really felt like we weren't understood, or where that the mind is saying this is what I want, but the gut is saying, oh hell no. So we wrote a curriculum accordingly to answer a lot of the really common questions, many of which we've touched on today. It's running from November 4th through the New Year's, 3 months long. We're going to have group coaching sessions, and we're going to have one-on-one private coaching available. You'll get paired with one of our 5 coaches, and we'll set you up with kind of that best of both worlds. It's affordable. There are scholarships available, and it's going to be awesome. It's just going to be awesome. You can find us at sacredsexualityrising.com, and you can find it on Facebook through my wall, through Brianna's wall, through Sacred Sexuality Rising. You're probably going to see a lot of stuff for it coming out after this. This was one of our big debut lives, and you were the top of my list of somebody to go out, go public and talk about this stuff with, man. I love you very much, Johnny. You're the best.
Thanks, Blake, and I appreciate you reaching out and making me a part of this. And even though, all the circumstances were what they were,
Yeah,
it definitely was one where it was difficult to say no, and it was one of those where I knew that this was what I needed for myself. And so, I'm so happy to promote and to also be able to support you all in this amazing opportunity for all of those who feel aligned to join.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you so much. I can practically hear the other 4 coaches just be like, yeah, Johnny and Blake, you guys are great. So yeah, check us out. That's Flourish. Check out Flourish, the poly-kinky-queer coaching program starting soon in the St. Pete retreat with Johnny Vajra and Stacey Isidrio. Good luck down there, bud. I hope to see you around the way.
Thank you. Yes, I'm looking forward to feeling you again as well in the same space.
Absolutely.
And thanks to everyone else here who's joined us. So happy to be here with you all.
Thank you, Facebook. See you next time.